Gillette, the best a man can get.
Hi, everyone. Good morning and welcome to First Things First. It is Wednesday morning here in New York City. We got a lot to get to today. I'm Jen Wolf. That's the Hall of Famer Chris Carter. This is Nick Wright. You look like you have something to say. Do you have something to say?
No. One of the camera guys is messing with me and everything. I'm getting ready to throw something.
Wow.
Okay,
It got me a little disturbed.
I'm happy. It's time that our wonderful camera crew stops taking this abuse from Chris Carter.
Yeah, Mr. Tickles, too. I'm going to get handsy with him today.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
There we go.
It's football season. It's a full contact.
You always want to start a show with, I'm going to get handsy with Mr. Tickles.
Yep.
That is his nickname. We got a lot to get to today. Andrew Luck's Week 1 status is now up in the air. We'll tell you why. The Giants are hoping rookie Daniel Jones doesn't see the field at all this season.
You say Daniel Boone?
There you go. And Mr. Big Chest made his big return to the Raiders. After missing more than a week of practice with his frostbitten feet, and because he didn't like his helmet, Antonio Brown officially returned to Raiders training camp yesterday. And yet another bizarre chapter in this saga. AB is now taking to Twitter to find a helmet that fits the NFL guidelines because, of course, that's the best way to do this. Head coach John Gruden expects AB to be ready Week 1 despite all of these issues, and so does Antonio Brown.
Well, I'm extremely grateful to be here. We're dealing with a lot of adversity. It's on up and up on things, so I'm excited to be back and see my teammates and get in the groove of things here shortly.
We know where he's been. We know what he's been through. We're thrilled to have him back, and obviously we think he's a great player, and we're anxious to get the men together and get rolling.
I'm battling with a foot injury. You know, I see my face all over the news, all the talk, but these guys have been doing a good job with supporting me. It's grateful to hear them come out about it, and I'm excited to hear to just do my job.
The reason his face is all over the news is because he put his face all over the news, and the reason he's dealing with off the field with Antonio Brown. Will his production on the field make up for the drama that he seems to create wherever he goes now here in Oakland?
If you go through NFL history, it would tell you, yes. The NFL, they will tolerate a lot of things. If you look, say, Nick, in your viewing lifetime, watching the NFL, I think two of your favorite receivers, one Randy Moss, one A&B Terrell Owens. All right?
So, well, Randy's certainly one of my favorites. T.O., one of the ones I have so much respect for on the field.
Yeah, and the thing about it is there's a reason why those guys played for 10 different teams. It's because they had unbelievable ability. But after a while, through a number of different reasons, sometimes money, but other reasons, they wore out their welcome. And that's what will happen. Oakland will be able to tolerate it for a long time. I mean, long enough. And that's, see how Derek Carr develops. Moving to Las Vegas, they need a face. They need a marquee. They need someone besides Gruden. I'm watching Hard Knocks, and if they tell me Gruden is the only thing I'm going to see, not going to be a lot of viewing on that. They don't have a lot of good storylines. And after you listen to Gruden, you kind of get on to his little stick as far as what he's doing and everything. So, no, it's the NFL. It's been this way for a long time. Absolutely, productivity is the #1 thing over anything. Yes, if you can play, regardless, committing a crime or anything, distraction in the locker room, they are willing to tolerate it, but for so long.
And I think some people would say, well, the Steelers weren't willing to tolerate it anymore. But they were.
For a while.
Well, and they even were into this offseason. The owner met with AB on AB's terms, trying to work it out.
Yes.
What the Steelers weren't willing to do was deal with it and give him a raise to boot. They weren't willing to deal with it and break their own contract rules they have within the organization about guaranteed money, ripping up a deal that early. So he didn't even wear out his welcome in Pittsburgh. No one can question how productive Antonio Brown has been. And we haven't yet seen him play dealing with the foot injury and with the new quarterback. So we would be lying if we pretended we knew, oh, well, he's not going to be the same receiver. He might be. I think his production's going to take a haircut because the quarterback play is so important, because I think the Steelers were such a better team in a lot of areas that helped Antonio Brown. But I have to be open to the possibility he's going to do another 1,500-yard, 110-catch season. That's absolutely on the board. I still don't know, even if he does that, if that will, though, be worth it for the Oakland Raiders, because the objective for Oakland is not just about this year. The objective is setting a new culture under Gruden, getting fans excited for Vegas, and developing young players. You don't trade an All-Pro and a Pro Bowl player for 3 first-round picks and some other stuff if you're not trying to develop a new young core of talent. So it's not just Tyrell Williams, who they gave $44 million to, a 27-year-old receiver. It's not just Hunter Renfrow. It's Clelin Ferrell, who was a top 5 pick. You don't think he looks to Antonio Brown as for an element of how you conduct yourself, how you should or shouldn't as an NFL superstar that he hopes to be one day? So for me, unless the Raiders shock everyone, go 11-5 this year, make a playoff run, it's going to be about more than just production.
Sure.
And will Antonio Brown give you enough value in that area? The Steelers only had to worry about the production because they were in a Super Bowl window. We'll deal with all the nonsense, whatever it is, because we think we can win a championship. The Raiders are not yet there.
I have to disagree with you. I don't think John Gruden wants to set the table with a new culture there in Oakland. None of the moves he made seem to point in that direction, where he wants to bring guys in that could help cultivate a winning culture and help some of the younger guys on the team. You don't bring in a Burfict or an Incognito and Antonio Brown.
Doesn't it depend on what culture you're trying to set? It might not be the culture that you think you should be trying to set.
But you can't also say, I want to set a culture, but I want these guys to be examples for some of my younger guys. Unless that's the example you want to set, that's the culture you want to set?
Jenna, you are sending mixed messages, because whoever you spend your money on are the players that you're empowering. If you watch Hard Knocks, you can hear John Gruden was trying to talk to one of the young players, a young safety, who he thought was being a little too physical in a drill that didn't have pads on. Vontez Burfict was in the background talking to other defenders. As soon as Gruden left the frame, saying, hey, man, we got to do what we got to do out here. Not listening to the head coach. So when the head coach signs off on you being here, I used to tell guys at the Vikings, man, Denny Green got me here. Denny Green is my guy, even though I was there before Denny. Denny signed off on me. I'm one of Denny's guys, and dudes know that. They know you have to be careful in trying to cross, trying to correct guys that are targeted by the head coach, because that group of guys is always in power to control the locker room. So Jenna is right. When you trade those draft picks, when you trade away good citizens. I don't know Khalil Mack as well as I know Amari Cooper, but Amari Cooper can date my 26-year-old daughter. He is that kind of kid from the hard streets of Miami, a perfect gentleman. Man, he is about being regimented, doing things the right way. Khalil Mack, I have heard nothing but great things back to his days at Buffalo. In that Raiders locker room, they said nothing but great things. So when you do, oh, I bring in Richie Incognito. Oh, I know what you're selling. Oh, I know what you're selling, Vontez Burfict. Oh, I'm getting ready to put him in the same locker room with Antonio? Yes, Jenna is right in this. You might be trying to say you're changing the culture, but it's a culture that's not sustainable. When the Raiders had this type of culture, they had Pro Bowl players up and down the lineup. They had journeyman, veteran players that would take less money to go play for the Renegade Raiders.
And it was to the point you made yesterday, Bart Scott, in a different era of the NFL, where you could get away with a lot more stuff on and off the field and not have it result in you missing games.
Penalties lose you games.
Right, and that is a part of it that the Raiders, while I think last year they were able to get away from a bit, well, that we know what their historical trend for them over the last 25 years has been. One quick point before we move on. You mentioned Randy, who is one of my favorite players ever. Randy's career he was setting records on a Hall of Fame trajectory, fell out with his original team, went to the Oakland Raiders for 2 unproductive years, and it looked like it was going to go one way for him, and then a great organization and a great team got him at basement value, and he had a renaissance second phase or third phase of his career. Antonio Brown's deal is essentially a 2-year deal. It's 2 years of guarantees in Oakland. I don't know if he will have the third act, but if I had to bet money, I would bet Antonio Brown's Raiders phase is around the same length of time with around the same amount of success as Randy Moss's Raider phase.
Well, if Tom Brady wants a receiver and he wants to play till he's 45, just wait 2 years, have the exact same career as Randy Moss. We'll see you at 45, Tom Brady. All right, take a break. Coming up, Will Andrew Luck be on the bench week 1? That's next on FS1. You can always check us out on the Fox Sports channel on SiriusXM. We'll be right back.